Hi, you're listening to the TL podcast. My name is Thomas Hoang, and I am interviewing someone who seems ordinary, but who is achieving extraordinary things. That is the quest of this interview. Hi, Chris.
Mr. TL, Thomas, how you been, bud?
Excellent, mate. This week, the joy of sales.
Oh, there's joy in sales?
You have to look for it.
We're going to find it, right? We're going to find it. Interesting topic, man.
All right, so let's have a look. Where can we start?
All right. We won't go into the fact is joy different to happiness. It is. There's a difference. I want to ask you what you're feeling. What's your thoughts on joy first? What is it? Is it a constant feeling? Does it come and go? What's the story? What's your feeling of joy first?
I think to me it's both. So first of all, you have to be having that level of contentment inside. But then the joy is almost that ability to seek enjoyment in a goal that you're going to attain.
Yeah, okay.
Then there's that kind of joy. So yes, there is a destination, but there's also that feeling that is simmering constantly. Because people want to see that. No one wants to hang around someone who's unhappy.
Right, someone who's grumpy, head down.
Right, so you need to have that. But to me, when we talk about the joy of sales, I was more looking at the destination, that sense of I set things, I can accomplish it. It gives me that feel, and that feel becomes almost that kind of addiction.
Right,
and it urges me onto the next one, and then next one. That's the joy of sales.
So that's almost like an endorphin hit, wouldn't it?
All right, let's stick with real estate.
All right, look, real estate, and it's no secret, those who have been in sales themselves or real estate, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? And sometimes there's more downs than ups.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's huge ups and huge downs. It's almost a roller coaster ride.
It's not sometimes. You must expect. It's always more downs than up. If you don't have that expectation, then you're fooling yourself.
And it doesn't matter if it's sales or property management, but that's real estate.
No, actually, property management's even worse. There's more downs.
Okay. But that's real estate. But that's sales. I would guess that would be sales across the board.
Yep.
All right. You miss a sale, you gain a sale, you have a good day, you have a bad day. Pushing through that, what you're saying is those goals you want to achieve, whether it's getting a listing or whether it's getting a buyer through a property and an offer, they're sort of the targets you look for those joyous occasions, or are we talking beyond that as well?
I think it's both. So first, when you start your career in sales, the little joys are what you're after. A sale here, a listing there. But really, when you start to see that in real estate, we're helping people fulfill one of their greatest dreams, which is home ownership. And if we do help enough of these people, the income has zero ceiling to us because we set the bar. The sky's the limit. By focusing on people to find joy, we transcend the little things. We transcend the small listings, then the small sales that we put together. I've seen people like this. They put their sale together, mate. They celebrate for days. And afterwards, they wonder why they have a bad month because, hold on, it took you 3 weeks to recover from that celebration, you know? But if you really look at sales as your ability to just help people move to the next part of their life. So when I'm selling someone's home, I'm actually helping these people start a new journey.
Okay.
And if you can't find that joy in helping these people move and help somebody else come into your neighborhood to start this journey around you, then you don't have that unlimited source of joy.
Okay. I think that comes back to a previous podcast we spoke about being a people person.
Yes.
About wanting to genuinely help people achieve what their goal is. I think, though, for salespeople, different salespeople are going to achieve or have joy out of different things.
Yes.
Would you not agree?
Absolutely.
Some people will have the joy out of getting the sale together and getting that buyer the dream home, or helping the mum and dad upsize and sell their home and help them find the new one. Some people, it'll be about
achieving records,
breaking a record sale price,
yes,
or a commission check,
absolutely,
or having an outstanding auction, and so forth. So different salespeople are going to find joy in different things.
Yes.
You'd agree with that, right? And even regardless of their point in their career, they're going to find those things. Do you think people are going to become a little bit numb at a certain point where that joyous feeling becomes sort of same?
Yes, if you are on the listings or the sales that you make, or on the small records, there will come a time, unless the pursuit of records is part of your identity, which I spoke about in the Not Good Enough book. If you are going for something that transcends a listing or sales, for example, another joy of sales is freedom, then you never die. If that becomes the kind of joy that you're seeking, because in real estate, let's put it this way, you actually have some kind of freedom of time at the beginning. This is why most salespeople get crucified with their time management and hence achieve very poor results, because they get given that freedom of time, but they don't know what to do with this. They don't work through a perfect day. They don't set, a list of tasks that they have to achieve every single day.
Yeah.
But the joy of sales is around freedom of time and financial freedom. And if you can get that, seriously, the joy is fantastic. Where else can we be and do a job where if our kids need us to go to a school presentation, we can make it?
Okay, so I'll split that in two for a second. Go back to, what do people identify as joyous? Do you think that comes down to also sort of, for example, freedom, or breaking records is part of their identity? Is that part of their virtues, do you think? Is that part of their own unproclaimed virtues? They like their own freedom, they like their own time, or people want to be significant within that identity?
No, I think their goals, their pursuit, they are more what make them joyful. I think that when it comes to virtue, for example, to focus on people. If you're only interested in helping them get on with life or pursue the next stage of their life, the virtue could be compassion.
Okay.
But the activity that you're doing is you're focusing on helping people get on with the next part of their life.
Okay. So the reason I'll go a little bit negative on this subject, the reason being is I've seen a lot of people be unhappy within real estate. Yes, there are many, many happy occasions.
Yeah.
And I can only say, real estate is and I think we've mentioned it previously in another podcast, there's a very high attrition rate with real estate agents.
Yeah.
We get into the industry under 5 years. If you go past 5 years, you're usually there for life. But usually 12 months or 5 years seems to be the cutoff of most careers.
Yeah.
That would not happen if people were more joyous within their job, right?
Yes, that's why you need to transcend the listing or the sales that you get.
But it's easier to say than do. So we need to help people to realise how are they going to go past just those, and to say, okay, we need to be more grateful and help people and so forth. What practices can they put in place?
It's a matter of culture, Chris. What is the culture of the leader?
Okay, that's where I was coming from. All right. So it's very environmental of where they're working.
Yes, absolutely.
So is that why we see some leaders being able to hold on to staff a lot longer, nurture those staff, and why they may not be superheroes in real estate or in sales, they're still solid performers, they're still in a team that they're having a good time with and so forth. Those leaders are creating that?
Yes. My criticism is that I don't like leaders hold on to champions for too long. They need to help them fly.
Right.
So for me, if a leader of a team does not have in mind that the pursuit of independence for these people, then I think that somehow it doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't mean that they're not great business people. Maybe
Sure.
they're amazing business people.
Sure.
I just happen to have different values, and the joy for me of real estate at this level I'm doing now is that sense of freedom for them.
Okay. When you talk about that freedom for them, and that's knowing their goals, right? Because part of being a leader is knowing that your staff, what they want to achieve and so forth. So if their dream is to have their own show or be part of their own show, it's the leader's responsibility to help them to move towards that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I think Maslow has got those level of self-actualization. All right? First, people want food on the table, Chris. Mm-hmm. So first, a salesperson wants to know that at the end of the month, whatever salary they come home with, it's enough. Then they start to do a little bit more. They want to make a bit more. They start having commission. They want to do different things. They want to now have maybe a house, significant. But ultimately, they want to reach a level where they now being themselves. They are pursuing the best version of themselves, they call it, or self-actualize. And I think that if you are going to be joyful in sales, you must go for that level first. You don't just stay too long on the first level where it is just needs.
Okay. Coming back to the office that you're working in, how important is it for fun within the team, within the office, to continue with it, to help with that joy in the team?
Very important. But the real question is, what are you doing to bring fun?
Okay, and that's my next question. Who is responsible? Because sometimes people go, oh, this guy wastes time, he's always making a joke and so forth. Yeah. And then sometimes people go, well, the leader never does anything exciting for us, for example. And then it falls maybe onto someone else's shoulders.
Yep. I think the fun factor is upon every individual in the office.
Okay.
I believe that, everyone goes to work and is responsible for creating a bit of fun at work. Now, the problem is when fun becomes the main engine of the business, then you've got a wrong business.
Right.
Then it means that the leader has to address the culture. Because in the end, profit is very important in a business. Profit means that there's also money for the salesperson. Profit means that there's a better lifestyle for everyone. And that is also contributing to joy, because it's one thing to say, yeah, I'm part of this organization that's helping people move, but hold on, I can't buy bread and feed my kids, mate. There's no joy there. So for sure, the basic needs are there, but the basic needs should not be the main drive. We must learn to transcend the basic needs as fast as we can. Then we can truly enjoy sales. We can also then take part that rejection or failure is part of it. Because if you fail to get, let's say, a listing, well, somehow, yes, you can beat yourself that you didn't show these people how you could be the solution to help them to the next part of the journey. But at least you've been part of that journey.
With the losing a listing, I think it's very important, and you've been an avid advocate of this, was celebrate those losses with the staff.
Yeah.
So they lose a listing, great, you've lost a listing, now move on. Great, go and find another one.
Yep.
One way that it's not going to work. So,
yeah, but hold on. I do that with the new people, okay?
Yeah.
So
I know, but to stop them from losing that enthusiasm, that joy, right? Because they're happy they've gone to a listing appointment, and then to lose it, okay, it's a bit soul crushing. However, as a leader, to help them to see that it's not the end of the world, right? It's the leader's job to also help them transcend that issue.
Yes, that's when you do a bit of bandages, but the salesperson must do that themselves. Listen, we all lose listings. We all lose sales. The key is not to lose the lesson, because that lesson can be a stepping stone towards bringing even more joy into sales.
Absolutely.
And if we understand that, then we'll sit down. I've gone to a listing presentation where when I didn't get it, I'd sit down in my car for 10 minutes and analyze it. And once I have done enough analysis, that's it. Stop. Now take the lesson out, because now you still won. You got the lesson out of it. Never do it again. Yeah. I see people, for example, who have been around 8-9 years in sales. and they still do this, make the same mistakes that brand new people do. And I'm going, there's no joy in what you're doing. But that's because you've been searching for joy somewhere else.
When you say somewhere else, are you talking about outside the business?
Outside themselves.
Okay.
Because the transcending
okay.
has to be themselves. You can't find joy in outside. That's only a bit of happiness. This is like the guy who buys a brand new car and think he now found joy. I can guarantee you 3 weeks, if it's an expensive car and something that he's dreamt for a long time, maybe 3 months. 3 months down the road, he's going to revert back to exactly the same level of joy he had before.
Yep. For myself, coming now from salesperson to sales manager to business owner, I find a lot of joy in myself now helping the team and helping the staff achieve what they want to achieve. And it's small wins. I've got a new young fellow who we listed. He's been with me only a couple of weeks, and we just listed one of the appointments that he booked.
Yeah.
And the joy on his face when he was told, and how excited he was just so inspiring for me. It was, and I think I probably got more out of it from his reaction than he probably got out of the listing, us achieving that listing for him. So I think it's being aware internally is also a fuel for yourself, helping those others to achieve that. So it's a very a sweet cycle of energy that's coming back to you, I think.
But what I like is what you just said. While he's finding joy from the basic needs, the listing, you were finding joy out of his joy.
Absolutely.
Right? And this is the bit where people need to realize the higher we can transcend the basic needs, the longer lasting joy is, and the more opportunity for joy is.
You do the training in our franchise, and you see a lot of recruits come and go, and some pass, some don't, and some of them we do favors to by not because they're not suitable for sales, and some are just absolute champions. And I know that we've had a conversation before about that you really find inspiration and joy in seeing a lot of them grow through that process, right?
Yep.
Do you have, how do I put it? If someone that you feel really, look, this guy's got it, this lady's a champion, she can do it, he can go out and conquer the world, and they don't.
Yep.
Does it damage your soul, your joy? Does it steal a little bit of joy from you? Do you feel disappointed or?
I used to, Chris.
Okay.
And that was a mistake of mine. I used to take the wrong definition of compassion. And joy should not be linked to an individual.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Because I may have seen something in that person, but if that person was not ready, so be that they are immature, be it that they don't want it, I am only going to be controlling somebody else's life for the sake of a bit of joy in my life. No. What you need to do is to understand that these people will be ready one day. You can find, this is why when you recruit someone, there's always 2 factors that you look at, the will factor and the can factor. While you can see now whether someone can do it, until they go inside and find something inside, they will not be able to show a will factor to you, and you'll never uncover the will factor.
Okay. So I'm probably learning more out of this than a lot of our listeners. It's fantastic and we had a conversation off air that I thought happiness and joy were very similar.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll talk more about that later. But I'm now actually seeing that, and I can pick certain points where I'm at in the office. It's not so much happiness, but it is joy. I'm learning a lot out of this. With the joy thing, and you're saying it's an internal thing, what's the first step maybe for someone who's not getting the enjoyment that they should? Do you think that they should, is it the awareness point? It is appreciation for what they're seeing?
Well, have a look at where they are. If they are at basic needs level, mate, you're going to have to go down to that level. So with a brand new recruit, let's imagine a 18-year-old starting in real estate. even getting an appointment, you have to celebrate that getting an appointment with him, because that is a source of joy for
Yep.
that person, right?
Yep.
So you have to go to that level with them. I know deep inside you'll be going, man, you don't get fed with an appointment, right? Until it's sold, there's nothing here. But for them, it's success. They have reached a milestone.
Yep.
So you need to do that with them. It's the same thing as when you have a baby and the baby starting to say the word water, and they go, whoa, I'm sure. I mean, I've done it, where I'd look at my wife and say, have a look. She just said water. That's amazing. And so we even celebrate that whoa, right?
Yep.
But I can't see myself celebrating my daughter, who's now 30, when she says whoa. I don't go and celebrate now, right? And so you have to rise it with them. But you also have to really have a culture where you're teaching them to transcend it. What does that mean? So he gets the appointment, it's sold. I will celebrate the sales, and I'd say, do you know what happened here? That was someone who didn't find you, that you were sent on their path. And you now have been an agent contributing to them stepping into the next part of their life. You know what that means? And I would spend a bit of time explaining that, because you're helping now your salesperson transcend the basic needs.
Okay. So the next time he does it, he sees, rather than I've got an appointment, I'm helping someone move and so forth. So he's shifting his identity in, or
His
understanding
joy
of that joy.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say you had an experienced sales agent and
Yes.
you were called into an office. Let's say you went into an office and there was just the feeling in the office wasn't the best, and a few other people, you just see there was not a lot of joy in the office. What would you do? Would you go down to each individual, see their needs, see what's happening, or how would you help those people through that?
Well, I do this all the time, and I see that in training. So I become a bit of a clown in the training.
Yep.
And I understand that I'm here now to create to be a source of joy for them.
Right.
And hence, when you are training, there's 4 things you have to inject in. And that's why I say a trainer always injects life, L-I-F-E, learning, inspiration, fun, and energy. So if you did all these things, then you are going to help these people transcend the issue. And first of all, maybe the unhappiness comes from leadership. The leader has created a bad thing, but it doesn't matter. What you want to show them is something they look at and they go, hold on, why am I here? I could be there. I could feel that way. Why? Because you just got them to touch that element.
Okay.
Yeah. Then now you become the source of their joy.
All right. So that's good. So it's helping leaders and also salespeople to understand maybe where they're feeling and how to start moving past that. The other thing I wanted to touch at is obviously a lot of people see as work and home as separate entities, right?
Yeah.
Being a business owner, maybe it's different for me. I think it's just it's life. It's all the same. And some people may not be having a great family life, and they come to work to avoid that, and vice versa. People may be having a terrible time at work and go home to have their joy. If it's a bad family life, and we can see that as a leader or even a colleague, can we help that person? Is there a way we can help that person maybe to achieve a little bit more joy in their life and maybe move beyond those issues they've got at home, or help?
First of all, you need to be the example that you want people to follow.
Yes, okay.
So if you have an exemplary lifestyle that they can follow at home, they will. But I also believe that, are people ready? And are people willing for you to cross that boundary between work and private life?
Yep.
It's up to them. You can't just get in and butt in and get involved into something that is none of your business.
Yep.
But you can show them how you live, and they make a decision. It's a funny thing, I train a lot of people, and I used to have salespeople who'd come to my place at any time of the day, and they became more like me, and they became amazing agents. Then you have the ones who would not want that because they didn't want to become accountable. They didn't want to be pushed out of comfort zone, if you will. And you have to respect that not everyone is ready when you're ready. And not everyone's ready when they join you. You must foster that environment that will help them transcend the pain, the challenges, the issue of the day, so they can just focus on the ultimate mission that they have being around you.
That's some sage advice. That's excellent. Probably last thing I want to touch, do you think the size of the team or the size of the amount of people in an office or a business helps it to be easier to be joyful in a business? Or do you think it maybe is a pro or a con, bigger team or a smaller team?
I think it depends. If you are an unhappy kind of leader and you have a large team that is joyful,
got lots of people.
Get out of the office and let them lead the joy. If you are a highly joyful leader, whether you're a team of 1 or a team of 16, you're generating the energy. I believe that the leader must understand they have a huge role in that. I don't see my team that often, but when I see them, I know I need to generate something here. And that's the responsibility of leadership. It's not about how much they do, but how intense it is.
I like that. Now, talking about leadership, just on joy and leadership, you wrote a book, and at the end of that book, you could send in and receive your passions for life, right?
Yep.
That's true, right?
Yes.
And this was open to anyone who had your book. They just needed to email in, and I think you would email them a PDF file with your 22 passions for life.
Yep.
And funnily enough, the subject that we're talking about right now, you happen to have one, passion number 12. And it says, make joy, fun, and laughter your first language.
Yeah. I myself am a student of that. But I see it, especially in my children, they do that. And it's an amazing thing because ultimately that's what we're seeking, right? Through work, through our life, we're seeking that joy, that fun, that laughter. Why do we become so serious? I am guilty. I'm guilty that sometimes I put some of these duties first. Hence, I do really like Marcus Aurelius, meditation, and anything that is stoicism. But you have to make that time for joy.
Yep.
You have to make that time for fun.
Yep.
And I think that I'd like to remind some people, we spoke about this in the Wine and Wisdom, you and I and the other clowns.
So not the clowns, the other clowns.
The other clowns, so we all clowns. And it's our way to look for fun, a bit of laughter, and create a bit of joy in that moment. And this is the one thing that I liked about Wine and Wisdom is we're talking about serious business, but we make it fun.
Yeah.
We don't take ourselves seriously because we're tackling something serious. I think that's something I've been missing that I had found with Wine and Wisdom. And that's something I'm still learning to do today, but it's a big one. Number 12, it's a tough one for me to do daily.
You know, there's a saying that I got from you that I think you got from Marcus Aurelius is do what you have to do before you do what you want to do. Is that Marcus?
Yeah, do your duty, yep.
Yep. So do what you have to do your duty before you do what you want to do. And in the time that I've known you, I've seen that transition from that steadfast rule to do that while you're having fun.
Yep. Oh, that's nice. You
True?
seen it?
Absolutely. Used to be a bastard, mate. You're not so much anymore. So, but I just wanted to bring that up because it was quite interesting that I saw that on the wall and I knew this was going to be a topic, and I thought, man, how appropriate that line is for this, because you can, and I do believe you can be joyful at a choice, but you have to be aware of that and then move, like you said, transcend that. Mate, great podcast, great chat.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Great talk, mate. Learn a lot, probably more than most people listening, but been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, big man.
Thanks,
Talk
Chief.
soon.